Welcome back to the Fighter Interview, SKC fans. I'm your host, Brandon Halley. Today, I'm here joined by Kris, the Outlaw Anders from Striking 101 in New York. Kris, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Awesome. Before we get started, I want to shout out our sponsors, Project Pantheon, rocking the merch all day, Project Pantheon, Dynamite Kickboxing, and Ships Go. Kris, let's get started, man. I want to talk about how long you've been fighting and also how long you've been training.
I've been training for about 10 years now. I started training as a young adult, Kyokushin karate. I started kickboxing shortly after. Um, Actually, my first kickboxing fight was against somebody from Striking 101. Yeah. Um, and, it just made a really good impression on me. And me and my coach both felt like um, we could elevate our game by coming here. So after a while, we both joined Striking 101, and um, we've been rocking and rolling ever since.
That's awesome, man, that a gym could have such a big impact on both you and your coach's career. Um, I want to talk about your karate background. So you're a karate black belt. Talk to me about what it's like becoming a Kyokushin karate black belt and what that journey looks like.
It was a journey that required a lot of patience with myself and just falling in love with the process. Um, Striving to be better every day, something you could take with you, not just in fighting, but in life. There's always room for improvement, always something new to learn. Uh, you can always be better, even if it's 1% better every day. By the end of the year, you're 365% better. So just always want to work on yourself, and that's what I got out of karate because before I started training, um, I didn't really have a lot of discipline. I had nothing going for me, honestly. I was getting into trouble. I was in the streets, doing a lot of things I shouldn't have been doing. Um, and it got to a point where, um, at one point, I just needed something good to focus on and pour all my energy into, and that happened to be karate. I fell in love with it the first time I tried it, and um, I've, even before I started training, I've always been drawn to fighting. I've always enjoyed fighting, which is part of my nature. But this helped me to refine it and um, to learn discipline. Uh, Now I know that I have the skill sets to. I know I'm strong. I've proven it time and time again, and I'll continue to prove it. Um, but it's more about proving it to myself than just trying to survive in a hostile environment. So karate kind of saved my life.
That's really inspiring, man. I want to talk about your record. You're 14-3, three losses for 14 wins. That's a very, very impressive record. Can you talk to me about a really memorable fight, whether it was a win or a loss, that you were able to learn, uh, a lesson that you learned that was most impactful in your martial arts career?
Um, I've actually learned the most um, from a fight I had a couple years ago. It was actually a fight against somebody I've trained with, a sparring partner of mine. His name was Julio, and he's an amazing Taekwondo fighter. He knocked me out in the second round, um, but that fight really had a lot of impact on me because it made me realize that I should be I should be more free to be myself. Um, I feel like with that particular fight, I was in my head way too much, uh, especially because we sparred together and we kind of know we kind of know each other's game. Uh, so that was a real challenge for me, and I was thinking so much about just switching everything up, changing up my whole style, and trying to be unpredictable. But that's not something that I feel like is for me. I should just be me every time I fight, and things will go a whole lot better for me. And also, just not. I have a bad problem with overthinking everything. my brain is always on 100, 24 hours a day, and it's something I'm working on. So ever since that fight, I've been striving to get out of my head a little bit more, just be more free. I feel like that's something that's going to make a huge difference in every fight I do going forward.
Hearing that from somebody so accomplished as you, that's very um that makes me feel good to hear that from you also, because that's something that I struggle with also. I'm the same way as you, man. My brain is wired 24/7, uh with work, with coaching, with fighting, whether that's me fighting or my teammates fighting or pro fights. My head is wired 24/7, and I definitely have that tendency of thinking way too much and not doing how I should be doing in a fight. So to hear that from somebody as accomplished as you, who's a veteran, who's a lifelong martial artist, that's very humbling to hear. Kris, I want to talk about your next fight that's coming up. I know that's actually next weekend, so I thank you for your time today for doing an interview. You have an upcoming fight, a title fight for Freedom Promotion, a Freedom Fighting Promotion. Um, that's one of the biggest promotions in the United States, and you're fighting for the world title. So, talk to me about how camp has been, and talk to me about your mindset going into that fight.
This fight, I'm really excited. It's a Muay Thai fight. I actually prefer kickboxing over Muay Thai, but that's just a personal preference thing for me. But at the same time, this is a huge opportunity for me to showcase my skill set and show that I'm not just a kickboxer, I'm not just a Muay Thai fighter, I'm not just a karate fighter. I'm a well. I'm going to showcase my skill set and do everything I can to bring my belt home.
Yeah, I'm wishing you nothing but the best in that, man. And also, if you win that belt, I have got to get a picture with that, man. That is the world's biggest belt, man. So I would love to get a picture with you with that belt. I want to talk to you a little bit more about the stylistic matchup. So this is a Muay Thai rule set, but you are a karate background. So, and your opponent for SKC, I personally know him, and he's a good friend of mine also. He comes from a Muay Thai background. So talk to me stylistically about the difference in styles versus karate and Muay Thai, and where you think you have an advantage over Muay Thai with a karate background.
Um, I I see it stylistically as just changing the tempo of the way we approach fighting. A punch is still a punch, a kick is still a kick. With Muay Thai, the rule set, you're allowed a few more things like sweeps and elbows. Um, the pace is a little bit slower, a little bit more relaxed, but it's also a lot more methodical. Kickboxing is more high speed chess. Muay Thai is more of a thinking man's chess. So I don't see one is better than the other. I just think it's a difference in approach to fighting, um, and just being able to adapt and flow between the two is. I feel like that's a strength that I personally have. It's something I've worked on. You can't fight everybody the same exact way, but you should still always be you when you're fighting. And I'm like I've said before, I'm not trying to just be a kickboxer, just be a Muay Thai fighter. I'm trying to be well rounded and be able to balance and flow between states, from being like a karate fighter blitzing in and out to my traditional Kyokushin style where I'm holding my ground ready to go, not moving an inch, to a Muay Thai fighter where I'm being slick and seeing everything. Um, I like to try to be the best possible fighter I can be, and just a well-rounded martial artist in general.
I want to talk about your goals in fighting. Do you have a bigger, grander goal in fighting? And if so, what is that?
My goal is to become a professional. Hopefully, by the end of this year, I can make my pro debut, but I'm not trying to rush it. I'm trying to be consistent and just stay active as an amateur fighter. My last year as an amateur fighter. Just be consistent and sharpen up little by little between each fight and Short-term goal is to go pro. Long-term is to become a world champion as a professional on the biggest stages, whether it's K1 or 1FC or any of these glory kickboxing, any of these world stage level fights. I want to be a professional champion.
Yeah, man. And once you turn pro, I doubt anyone's gonna want to fight you. So good luck finding fights. I know that's definitely one of the hardest things to do as a professional, finding somebody who would actually scrap with you. So talk to me about how that experience was, and also talk to me about how different the styles were fighting international competition.
Um, Most of the fighters I fought were actually here from America. I went down. I went down to where was it? Tennessee for the last one. Um, yeah, and I played silver. It was a good experience. My team usually does well every year. Um, my sensei actually, Jonathan Ruiz, he plays a major part. He was selected as a head coach a couple times already, and I've had teammates like Savannah Graham Pepper. You guys might know her. She's actually fought overseas. Same thing with my teammate Daryl Campbell. So I have a solid squad. We're all very different, but we all come from the same camp. So it's it's a blessing just to be surrounded by champions, you know. Uh, and they all bring something new to the table. They all bring something different, and just training with them prepares me for whatever else is out there in the world. I feel like there's not much I haven't seen yet, and if there is, I'm looking forward to seeing it, you know, and learning from it as much as I can. So um, yeah, my teammate actually, my best friend Aaron Brito, he just fought in Thailand in the World Games. He won two gold medals, but he's a two-time world champion, which is amazing. My best friend is a two-time world champion, and that's like that's so inspiring for me. And yeah, so I'm excited to just be surrounded by these guys and learn as much from them as I can, and take that experience and put it on the world stage myself.
I know Daryl is also fighting on the same card as you, and he's actually going to be doing the King of the Ring tournament. And for the audience, the King of the Ring tournament is our 2-fight, 1 night tournament. We have 4 fighters, and 4 guys will be fighting for two fights in 1 night for the title of their weight class. Give me one word to describe Daryl.
Uh, um, Different, just straight up. Like his mindset is different. He's always, even when he's not training, he's trained. Like he's literally an anime character. Um, that guy is, man. I love Daryl. He's amazing. Like when you actually meet him and get to know him, you see for yourself. Like this man is not like anybody else on the planet. And that's why he's gonna be great. You can mark my words. He's gonna be a legend one day. I can say that a lot about a lot of my teammates. Diego Jagasar, Aaron Brito, Brian Guerrero, up and coming. No, I got a team full of killers, and Daryl's definitely one of. And he's also one of my favorite sparring partners. You know, so uh, yeah, he's gonna do amazing that night. I can guarantee you.
Your gym is full of absolute killers. And of course, while I was doing the research, I came across all those names, and I came across your teammates winning double gold in Thailand. I mean, that on its own, fighting in Thailand of international stages is a huge deal. But to win double gold, that's a whole nother level of accomplishment. Striking 1-on-1 overall is full of killers, and you guys are highly decorated fighters. So I cannot wait to watch you guys in person. I noticed as I was going through your Instagram, I kept seeing this word Joshu. I'm half Japanese and I'm familiar with the word. Talk to me about to the audience. Talk to them about what that word means and what that word means to you specifically.
Um, so in our system, when you achieve your black belt, you gain the rank of senpai, which is older brother, older sister. Um, so you're basically, it means you got a firm grasp of the fundamentals and the basics, and you understand our system. Um, and after a few years of being a senpai, you earn the title of Joshu, which is an assistant instructor. Um, which is a title and a position that I hold very dear to me because I get to help my sensei teach classes. Sometimes when he's not in, I run classes, or Joshua Aaron. Oh, I'm sorry, Joshua Aaron runs classes. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to share our knowledge and experience with people who are, even if they're beginners, we could teach them something, or even if they're active fighters who are experienced, just being able to share that knowledge with them, um, it's a privilege. But what really, really, I hold dear to my heart is the children. I love teaching the kids here. I look at them as if they're my own, and like they're my motivation. They're so precious to me. So just being able to share my experience and time and knowledge with them and nurture them, it's the biggest blessing I could ever ask for. So that's that's basically what a Joshu is. Someone who assists the sensei, or the deshi, which is the next rank up, which is an apprentice to being sensei. Um, that's that's our position. We assist and we share everything we can, and we help sensei and deshi share their knowledge. So it's really a privilege to be in this position.
I love that you brought up about the being a coach to kids. I actually coach kids in my gym also, and I cannot agree with you more. I get so much fulfillment out of teaching children, seeing their confidence grow, seeing them that the light bulb flickering in their head about like, oh, this makes sense to me now. Or with the first time you see them do something inspiring, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you for finally getting through that. No, I absolutely agree with you. I want to get finished before we wrap up. I want to get to some more fun questions. So, Kris, talk to me about some of your favorite foods that you like to eat. More specifically, favorite foods that you like to eat during your weight cuts, and then of course after your victory.
Ooh. So my diet is pretty horrible for an athlete. Um, when I'm not cutting weight, I'm eating like cheeseburgers and tacos and pizza and all that stuff, hot wings. But my favorite food of all time is chili. I like it's a specific brand of chili called Wolf Brand chili. It's so good. I grab a couple cans of that, cook up some white rice, mix it up, throw some cheese on there, and that's my favorite meal. But when I'm cutting weight, um, still not great. I because honestly, I refuse to eat vegetables. But um, but yeah, when I'm cutting weight, I go a little bit leaner. I eat chicken. I grill up some fish sometimes. Um, beans. I'm real big on beans. I love beans. Heavy on the protein. Um, fruits. Smoothies. If I'm not eating consuming protein, it's usually smoothies. I like liquid diet that helps me slim down a little bit. And then after I fight, I always it's a go-to for me. I have to have a bag of sour Skittles and some Kris Rises. It's my go-to. And Dr.
Love
Pepper.
it.
Can't go wrong with
I love it, dude. I'm a huge Skittles guy. When I first came to America, that was like the candy I latched onto. I punished some sour Skittles until they just burned a hole in my mouth, and I just like couldn't eat them for a long time. So I haven't touched them since because I'm still a little nervous. But no, I love to hear that. How's the food game in New York, man? I have yet to be in New York. I've heard a lot of things about New York food, but what's the restaurant game? What's the food game like in New York?
it. There's a lot. New York is a really big melting pot, so you'll find a lot of everything around. When I first moved up here, um, my go-to was pizza. I was eating pizza everywhere, looking for the best pizza spots. And like everywhere you go, like, oh, this pizza's the best. And then you go to the next spot, oh, this place is even better. So you're always gonna find good pizza spots around. Uh, Korean barbecue. I never had it before until a couple of years ago, and now it's like one of my favorite things. Korean barbecue. Um, Mexican food. There's a lot of good Mexican spots around here. You find a little bit of everything: Thai food, Chinese food. Uh, it's everything. The only thing
What's
you
your
really
favorite
can't
spot?
find is soul food. Oh, my favorite spot is McDonald's all day, every day.
Shout out to the Golden R. Shout out to Mickey D's. Hey, McDonald's, if you're watching, make sure you sponsor my boy Chris Andrews, please. All right, Chris. Give me your favorite striking drill that you do in the gym, and then also your favorite strength and conditioning exercise.
Favorite striking drill. There's a lot. Um, I like drilling automatic responses. So we kind of program our fighters built in. Whenever this comes at you, you have this response. Yeah, and this comes. And there's a lot of different responses. So it can be a different response every time. Just knowing that something's coming at you and you have to respond. And they're probably going to be trying to counter your counter, so you have to think 2 steps ahead and be ready to counter their counter to your counter. It's a it'll mess with your head a little bit, but it's fun, and I love it. That's my favorite striking drill, and my favorite strength and conditioning exercise. That's a tough one. I can tell you my least favorite. My least favorite is the assault bike. I hate that thing.
Man, who
But my
likes that thing,
favorite,
dude?
yeah, I don't know. Um, I like lifting weights. I like doing like chest press and stuff like that. Bicep curls, uh, kettlebells. I like kettlebell exercises. Battle ropes. Battle ropes are fun. Um, there's a lot of good strength and conditioning exercises that I enjoy. And there are a lot that I don't enjoy, but but it's a necessary part of the game. In order to be a good fighter, you have to have that strength.
Chris, any last shout outs you want to give out?
Yes, shout out to my family, of course, uh, and my teammates. I would not be where I am without them. Um, there's too many of them to name, but like just off the top of my head, my best friend Aaron Brito, two-time world champion, which is still mind-boggling to me. My sensei Jonathan Ruiz, Daryl Campbell, Diego Jagasar, Brian Guerrero, uh, Sophie. She's hopefully making her debut this year. She's one of my students, and I'm excited for her. She's been training hard for the past couple years, and I think she's ready. Um, yeah, a lot of all my teammates. We're all growing day by day, and we're gonna. I promise you, you're gonna hear about a lot of us. Just give us some time, and we're gonna continue to grow and make our mark in this industry. Take over the fight game.
Like I said earlier, we would love to continue to have the striking one-on-one fighters be represented on the Southeast Kickboxing Championship Series. We continuously want to see the best fighters, and I think we've done a really great job of matching up the best fighters, including yourself. Come watch Chris Andrews live in Greenville, South Carolina at the Foundry or on pay-per-view at WKInternational.tv. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Dynamite Kickboxing, Shipsco, and Project Pantheon.